Hello and welcome to this brand new show on SCUDLEY Radio called Candid, the story behind the storytellers. So the idea behind this show is to be an extension to the interviews, which of course is a 10-question written interview I have with artists in town. And they just tell us about their lives and where they're heading, where they came from, of course. Well, this show is going to be based in the same sort of realm, but we're going to go really deep. So we're going to get them right from the beginning, where they started, where their influences came, and of course where they're heading. But it won't just be restricted to the music world. It'll be creatives from the visual arts, from theatre, from behind the scenes, so producers, directors, storytellers, screenwriters, whatever your field is in the creative world, you're welcome to come onto this show and of course talk about what got you to where you are now. So it's less about the work you're creating and more about what shaped you as a person sitting before me and sharing your life stories with the audience. Now, most of these candid interviews will go over an hour and sometimes will be 2 parts. And what I'm going to do is provide a backdrop of Perth music running right through it. So essentially it just sets the mood, sets the feel, all local produced, all local created, and of course all local characters coming in to tell us about their lives. In this episode, the inaugural episode, I have Steve Kio, who I actually met on set in my film production for Anticipation. He was a fantastic actor. He played the role of Kit, the homeless man who got to befriend the main character, and he just did an amazing job. And I found out afterwards some of the other stuff he used to do behind the scenes. He's worked on some amazing stuff, massive budget films. He's also a horse wrangler. He loves animals. He's done a lot of stuff in his life, and he shares it all with us right here. So let's get stuck in. First episode with Steve Kio.
We're right to go.
We're right to go, mate.
Well, here's cheers.
There you go. First episode.
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Take 1.
That's it.
All that kind of shit. Okay, so I guess my time started back in about November of 58 when Mum got pregnant.
You won? Oh, yeah. So you were conceived.
I was conceived, yeah.
All right.
Just like that, right? So, yeah. Cool.
In WA?
Yeah, mate, yeah. 3 Springs up Geraldton Way.
Ah, okay.
So there's a whole backstory to the old man's side of shite and mum and all that kind of stuff, but that's cool.
Yeah.
They were from further down south. Mm-hmm. Mum was from Katanning. But anyway, they did things pretty rough back then, mate. Yeah. You appreciate back in 59, country towns, poor water supply.
Was Geraldton even developed back then as a town?
Geraldton was, mate, but she would have been. I guess it would have been like, not even like Jurien Bay is now. Oh, wow, yeah, yeah. Like it was a coastal town. It was a fishing town, you know. And I remember going to places like Donga and all that, and they were virtually fishing towns, you know. Geraldton certainly was that as well. By the time I got to go there school-wise and all that, obviously things had started to develop, and now it's blown out everywhere. Oh, totally. And so I suppose you started school early 60s then, wouldn't it? Or mid-60s? Yeah, mate, yeah. Early 60s,
okay.
So, yeah. So I was brought up as a Catholic in Catholic schools right the way through. And one of them was supposed to be Catholic, but but it wasn't.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, we'll go through that. Yeah, so brought up in 3 Springs, mate, and as I said, did it hard. Yeah. By the time I come around, the old man was running power station there, or working for the power station, and he got to run it, become the local internal combustion diesel driver in the power station, did a whole heap of things. He was actually quite a smart man, and I don't have a problem saying that.
No, sure.
Irrespective of the fact that he and I never saw eye to eye back then.
Even early on, you just never...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I learned... I think I always knew that although he had me and named me and all that kind of stuff, there was always something that was off between the relationship between him and me, and that's fine. I don't hold that against him by any stretch of the imagination or whatever. Peter, he grew up in a time and a climate and Catholicism back then and all that kind of stuff, you know.
Pretty black and white back then, I can imagine. With the
it was black and white, mate. But as I said, there was skeletons in the closet, and one of those was, I think that the father was an Irish Catholic. His father was an Irish Catholic. His mother said she was a Catholic Italian.
Okay.
Yeah, but it turns out, as we found out a long time after that she wasn't. She was actually from the Swiss Alps.
Really?
From a group of people called the Walser people.
Yeah.
She had changed her name to an Italian name, Valley.
Wow.
So that she could comfortably marry an Irish Catholic. She could put herself off, but she wasn't. She was a shocker or something like that anyway.
Right.
Maybe she was a bit of a shocker, but so there was that stuff, and I guess looking in retrospect, all I can go is that generation held off from this generation because there was that stuff, you know.
I bet.
So that stuff passed on to my father, and then my father passed it on to me.
Yeah.
And we took it from there. He went to Christian Brothers CBC in Fremantle, and then decided that he would send me to CBC Agricultural College up in Tarden, and that certainly has its own untidy history.
Right. Unofficially, or is it you
no, officially, mate. Between Tarden, Bendoon, Castledare, where some pretty ugly stuff happened.
Yeah, right.
They were orphanages.
Yep.
And there were some horrible things that went on.
Yep.
And we saw some of it. We certainly copped some very violent outbursts.
Really?
We copped some physical abuse, and there were those that copped sexual abuse as well.
Of course, bloody hell.
And that's even me, that's in the 70s, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what I'm saying is that it wasn't something that just happened back in the 40s and 50s and 60s.
No,
it was still going on in the 70s.
And was that in the context of a classroom or just in church?
No, it was afterwards. For example,
Right.
we all lived in dormitories, right?
Uh-huh.
There was one of the Christian brothers who would come stalking through of a night time, and he had one or two guys
Right.
that he would come in and basically
Seriously?
would disappear. So, and that's 73, right? So I was 14 at the time. So I went there, I think, 13, 14, 15 or something like that, probably.
Yeah. Formative years, mate, Jesus.
They are, mate. So you've kind of been a mummy's boy prior to that in Catholic schools and at home in a little rural country setting and all that kind of stuff. And then you've gone there and you're thrown in amongst a whole history, a whole system that is broken.
Yep.
And I kind of learnt that I could protect myself and probably even get what I wanted through violence. And I learnt that maybe the first month that I'd gone there in first year high, there was one particular incident. Violence escalated in seconds, and I was shocked at the speed of it. I was shocked at the consequences of it. But I went away afterwards, even though I was bawling at the time. I went away afterwards and I thought, okay, that was some good training. I'd been doing judo in primary school, and I performed a throw that we were taught to do it and to do it well, but we weren't allowed to use it during competition because it was a dangerous throw. I did that, and I held for that split second, and that's the reason why we weren't allowed to use it. Very efficient.
Right.
Everybody stood back.
Hence why it was banned from competition.
Blood everywhere. There was everything, you know.
So this was you and another student about the same age, or was it like a bullying?
No, yeah, it was a bullying situation.
Yeah.
And they bullied the mummy's boy.
Yeah.
And but the mummy's boy had
claws.
claws. Yeah. So that kind of set the pace.
Right.
Insofar as I copped some good floggings, mate. Don't get me wrong on that. You know.
Sure.
From the other guys, and it still kind of scared me that something could happen so quickly, so precisely, and so potentially fatal. It wasn't fatal.
No.
But it certainly had the potential to do that, you know.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the whole 3 years that I was up there formed some aggressive
tendencies or just coping mechanisms.
Yeah, coping mechanisms probably, but some cunning as well.
Yeah.
And very unhealthy.
Sure.
Very unhealthy. And but anyway, I survived it insofar as I lived coming out the other side of it.
Yeah, sure.
But the damage was done. I only did first, second and third, you know. But I tell you, the skill set that we developed there on that school and in that environment were actually extremely good.
So just practical day-to-day things you would be taking into your life going forward. Makes sense. Yeah, right, okay. Yep.
We learned a lot of things. So, and not just one thing. You go to a school that does art, that's an artistic school, and you learn artistic stuff, you know. We went there and we did have a music department and all that kind of stuff, but I couldn't sing, I couldn't play anything, and I really didn't want to.
Yeah.
I learned how to gut kangaroos. And everybody at school, man, we carried a knife in our pocket. We carried gings in our pockets, you know, and we used them. And I mean, you look back at it, right? You know, I'll give you jump a little bit forward here. I was in Calgary, and I'm driving past a caravan park, and I see kids, probably about 14, throwing stretch with knives on the lawn of a caravan park. And I went, those boys are from Tarden.
Right, okay.
Okay? Those boys are from Tarden.
How old were you at the time?
Oh, hell, mate. This is in the 80s, this is mid-80s, right?
Oh, so this is like a decade or more.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm driving through town and you see these guys playing stretch with knives, and you go, there's not many schools that would allow that. They were definitely school kids, right?
Wow.
There was 30 or 40 of them there.
Yeah.
So I pulled up beside those boys and I said, you boys from Tarden? Yeah, with all the attitude, you know. Yeah, we are. What do you want to do about it, you know? I said, who brought you here? And they said, oh, Brother Morgan.
Yeah.
I said, where is the bastard? He says, over there, you know. So Brother Morgan was actually, he kind of run the piggery, and I think later on he became a priest. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I went in there and, hey, Brother Morgan, how you doing, you know? And he goes, how'd you know we were here? I said, boys playing stretch on the front thing, you know, like there's not many schools that would allow that. So we would be sitting there, the Christian brother, whoever was looking after us that evening, he'd be watching us literally throw knives at each other's feet, you know.
So this is what stretch is. We got to throw. Is it like a game of chicken and?
Yeah, literally, right? So you stand there and one guy throws a knife and you're not allowed to throw it more than 10 inches or 12 inches away from the other person's foot.
Okay.
It's got to stick in. If it doesn't stick in, so you're around about a metre away from each other. If it doesn't stick in, then he gets his throw, you know. If it sticks in, he's got to move his foot to there, he pulls out as he go there. So there were some accidents.
I bet there were.
But the Christian brothers used to sit there and watch. This is our recreation of a night time.
It's playing Foursquare. Jesus Christ.
Shit, yeah, literally. So I can say some really, really bad things about Tarden.
Yeah, sure.
And about what it did to me as a person. But I am what I am and who I am today because I was formed that way. I learnt survival skills, but I learned a whole heap of practical things, mate. We killed and skinned our own animals. We ran our own powerhouse. We sheared our own sheep. We ran our own orchards. We did all of that stuff, right? So we learnt farming. We drove tractors. We drove cars. We fought. We shot gings at each other. We knocked each other out, you know? We went out stealing white cockies from the nest. We had White Cocky Day, All Saints Day, man. It wasn't very religious for the cockies, you know, but we went out and we took fledglings out of the nest. We built cages for them, we bred them, and we took them home at the end of the year. And we get them as pets, or they died because we were dysfunctional children.
Sure.
So as I said, there are a lot of skills, things that would be very non-conforming today.
Of course.
But we're talking about the 70s, mate.
Of course.
Entirely different. And everything bad that come out of the 70s, we kind of had that. But we also had the good things. So somewhere and I can look at something, I go, oh yeah, that's such and such, and they go, where'd you know that from? I said, I learned how to operate one of them when I was 13, you know? Wool presses, Jesus, starting old Lister generators, running this, running that, knowing what governors were on diesel motors, how to kill a sheep, how to skin it, cut it, tan it, all that. We did a lot of things, right? But a lot of us got scars from them, physical scars, because we all had sharp knives, we all had gings, we all had sticks.
And you were kids.
And we were kids, so whole heap. But I wouldn't trade that part of it for the world.
No.
Because I wouldn't have the skill set that I've got now. But as I said, it's the other ones, it's the scars that you don't show physically, but they manifest. And honestly, it got to the stage where I could be down in a pub, I don't go to hotels now, but I could be down to a pub and I could be watching somebody perform, and I'd sidle up to him and I go, Tarden or Bendoon, mate. Literally.
Wow.
Literally,
Was
mate.
that defining as far as the way you behaved?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yep. And I wrote a poem called The Brothers' House, which an organisation called Voices back in the 90s, I guess it was. There was an organisation called Voices. It's when there was class action against the Christian Brothers for a number of their
abuses. Was it certain cases, or just in
it was worldwide.
Yeah, yeah.
But Voices in Australia got in contact with me, and they found this poem on the net, and I had the poem on there called The Brothers' House. They found it, they contacted me and said, can we use it for our publication, which they did.
Yeah.
So it was in a couple of those, and I got some really good feedback from that.
Yeah.
Because of the passion that people, or however people related to the poem.
Yes.
You know, it probably wasn't a poem that's ever going to make it, wow, look what this guy's done, like Shakespeare or anything that, you know, or those. The backstory for that is what made it so electric for the people.
Did you find that the ones who responded the most personally with it were the ones that had gone through similar things?
Exactly.
It was, right, okay.
So, once again, I'll jump once ahead of this, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
It boils back to the relationship between my father. As I came away from there, I did go to another college afterwards, but the damage was already done, and honestly, I was out of control. Once again, I didn't kill anyone, but I had some really, really serious fights. They could have, at one stage, they had one ambulance in the town where that college was. There were 2 combatants who were seriously injured, so they had one cop sitting in the back with one of them, and the other one with something akin to a straitjacket on him in the front.
What age was this for you?
I was 16. The year after I left Harden.
Yeah, right.
And I went to that college.
Yep.
So you get to a stage, right, where you're in an environment where it's virtually co-ed college. They thought they'd be safe because they actually had an active cemetery between the boys' college and the girls' college.
Right, okay.
That backfired, right? Now, I want to tell you, I am not the only person that went to that college, male or female, who come away with a fetish for cemeteries.
Wow.
Okay? So, my very first full and successful sex experience was at 16, and it was on the grave of somebody in that cemetery.
Wow. How newly lain were they?
No, it was actually a reasonably old one, and it was,
yeah.
It was a big stone. It was a big thing, right? Which is probably why I chose it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that some of the fetishes and some of the tendencies that I'd had since then were formed on that slab.
And was there someone that was in your class, or you just was it like Mercedes and Trinity, where there's different colleges, or was it the same college?
No, there's actually so the's a boys' college, there's a cemetery, a girls' college, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So the girls would come out and you'd be talking.
Yeah.
So they'd sneak down. They'd have to get away from the nuns, and we'd sneak down, and we'd have to get away from the house masters and all that kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah.
So they had to climb out windows, but it was like 3 stories high. So you'd sneak out there, and if you got away, you got away.
Yeah.
And that was fine. So, God, I'd like to name names, but I won't. So then I got to school, and then I did that, and then I got home from that.
Yep.
I got asked to leave there because of some violent episode. Went to Geraldton High School, but this was in like year 12 by this stage.
Right.
There was one violent issue there, and I thought, this isn't going to work. I'm not going to finish year 12. So I did what I had to, and then went back to the dorm, leaking claret everywhere, and
Jesus,
packed up my stuff.
17. You were 17 at the time. You're right. And was this like a schoolyard fight, or was it something you guys planned because you had some?
No, this was just in school. So it started. Even though I know one or two were actually in classrooms.
Jeez,
and then it came out, and then I did actually hit a teacher.
Wow.
Already on my way back, I'd made the decision that I was going back, and I had claret leaking out of everywhere because, once again, while I still had a tendency to fight, I wasn't necessarily a good fighter.
Right. And
I certainly got my lumps from some of those fights, you know.
And did you find that you were more instigating the violence, or you were responding to stuff you felt that was unfair, or you've been treated in a way you didn't like, so your instant reaction was, I'm going to fight for this?
All right, so at the college that I went to after Tarden, I got knocked out and I was unconscious for a while. That was from a swimming pool accident.
Jeez, all right.
And I believe that's why they kept me in that college for so long once the violence started, was they were actually responsible for it. We shouldn't have been in that swimming pool.
So what happened? What was the issue?
The swimming pool was really, really green and slimy.
Oh, jeez, right.
A competition, right? Yeah. So I was swimming underwater, and a guy who, and I do know his name, he dived in on top of me. He didn't know I was there. Knocked me clean out because I come floating to the surface and all that. Apparently I climbed out, but I can't remember that. I can remember being there. I can vaguely remember one of the local Aboriginal boys taking me, sort of leading me back to the college.
Yep.
And then I came to in Mora Hospital. Yeah, so headache started after that and all that kind of shit. As it turns out, it did do some reasonable damage to one of my vertebrae in my neck.
Wow.
Of course, none of that was, back in those days, there was no such thing as chiropractics. They were all quacks and all that kind of stuff. So you had to go through the process. So I would suffer from headaches and psychological outbursts and all that kind of stuff. And they would send me to Perth and they would do ECGs or whatever they are, plug things in, flashlights in your head.
Yep.
So I came out of that with understanding that I was mad,
Right.
which was cool, because then I could release my energy and justify it. You know, treat me as mad. I'll show you what mad is, bitch.
Mad as in angry, or they said that you got some mental instability?
Well, they said I had mental instability.
Right. But you're almost glad to hear that. Well, there's my free ticket to do this, or there's a reason. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I certainly did that. I played that card. To this day, to this very day, no one has ever shown me the report that came back from the psychiatrist.
Wow.
Having said that, a number of my partners, female partners over the years, have said, your father said this. They know what was in that document. I don't.
Seriously? How's that?
Because Dad, whatever his reasons, he never ever had a problem with trying to make me look bad in the eyes of anyone. His friends, his wife, my sisters, my friends, my partners, nothing.
Right.
He never had that problem of doing it. Which brings me to why I originally backtracked or jumped ahead before about pardon. So I came home from school damaged and angry, and I didn't think I was damaged. So it's, he said to me once, he said, you got a chip on your shoulder, boy, you want to tell me about it? So I thought about it, took him at face value, and said, when I was at Tarden, brother, and that was as far as I got, he's cut me off and he says, I'm not interested in hearing about, he didn't say bullshit because he never swore, but basically I'm not interested in hearing about the lies, but he never used the word lies. As in your lies? Or wow, okay. Right. So straight away, without even hearing what you were saying, bang, just shut off.
Wow.
And I go, all right. Well, he shut that down with such absolute shite that I knew then that we were never going to have a relationship. And I basically said to him then, you no longer have a right to question me about anything I am, anything I do, and anything I fucking will become. And walked away from him. Could have been later than that. Like, I got an apprenticeship. Once I'd come back from Geraldton High after that incident, I did actually get an apprenticeship, local apprenticeship, and I did that for 4 years. In the meantime, still doing stuff sort of in the old man's workshop, electrical stuff and everything. But the one thing I did notice is a few times some of his friends, and I can probably name 4 of them off the top of my head, who would pull me aside at some stage or another, whether it was in the pub or at work or whatever, and go, I don't know what the fuck you've done to your old man, boy. I go, why is that? He said, he dislikes you for a serious reason, eh? And I go, yeah, I know, mate. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know what it is. And to this day, I don't know what it is. But I did used to say to my mother, when I finally pulled out, woke up one morning, went to work. I'd only just finished my apprenticeship, drove to Carnamar. I was working at Carnamar Motors, opened the workshop up, went in, started to prepare the work and paperwork for the day, and I thought, what the fuck am I doing here? I packed my tools in my little old car, locked the place up, slid the key under the door, and drove away. And went down to Perth, traded my car, went out in the desert, got a job up north of Calgary, and that's where I stayed. And about 3 months later, I suppose, I let people know where I was.
So you just took off and basically went AWOL?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I ended up in Leinster, up north of Calgary, and got kicked out on construction camp out of town, where all the contractors boys did. And holy shit, did I have some education there.
Really? Yeah.
There were some hardcore boys there, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus, there were some hardcore boys there. There was a group of shaft sinkers from Ireland as well, and kind of hooked up with them because I knew some of the old Irish poems and stories and all that kind of stuff. And then finally a whole heap of us, we caught a fella stealing up there, and that turned into pretty serious outcome.
What happened?
We used to have a film night there, and
Yep.
he snuck out of the film and went around the room and stole a heap of gear. And
Was he one of the crew? I
yeah,
suppose?
he's actually worked for the same company I worked
Jeez.
for. And it's a very, very dangerous thing, and it did prove out dangerous for him. Aeroplane come in and picked him up and took him away. Royal Flying Doctor come in and took him away. And
Right.
then there was all kinds of repercussions after that. But that kind of that set the scene as well for probably a week or two of skullduggery. And then finally there was a heap of us that were asked to leave. So about 12 or 13 of us left at the same time. We all got to Calgary, Irish boys included, and then they turned up at the pub we're at and said, found an Irish pub. So we went there and partied on there for a while. But two of that original group are actually buried out at Boulder. Yeah, we went our own way. I think it was 27, 28 years after that I left there.
Wow. So you were there for a good couple of decades, almost 3 decades.
Yes, mate, yeah.
Wow. So work-wise, you obviously dealt a lot with the stuff you'd done from when you were 13, 14. Was it more farm work? Was it more industrial work? What sort of stuff did you do?
No, it was earth-moving equipment. So I got a job with Wigmore's Tractors, which were the Caterpillar people there. Ultimately became Westrac, which is what it is today, Westrac and Caterpillar. So yeah, I did 2 stints there of about 12, 18 months each, and learnt to survive on drugs there, drugs to go to sleep, drugs to wake up, drugs to party, drugs to fuck, drugs to just for the sake of drugs.
Yep.
And I think every now and again I mention mushrooms.
Yeah.
Oh, look, they were good, mate, because dragons are such cool creatures, right? And oh man, I can tell you some stories. I don't do drugs now at all.
No, sure.
You know?
It's more just what you.
And, yeah,
that's crazy.
But you go back there, and I don't even know if you can get true lysergic anymore. You know,
Right,
I worked with a guy, a young American fella. All his buddies from America were on an American warship, like they're an outlaw motorcycle gang.
Right.
And basically the whole gang were either 1 in prison or 2 on the ship.
Right.
So it came to Frio, and he went down and he come back with, man, some serious, really good acid, right?
When was this?
This would have been 83? What?
About 24, 25 years old?
Yeah, 83, 84, yeah. And we'd had a few since then, you know, and Dan came back with these things, and holy shit, I go, yeah, well, that was acid, that was LSD, you know. And then once that supply went, there were like some come over from the east with some of the hookers and all that kind of stuff, and we get that people would come in and go, oh, we got this and we got this. Some were good, some weren't so good, some were, and today it's just chemical, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And I look at people that smoke pot and I go, oh God, I would so love to have a joint now, you know. But I made a decision some time ago that I was never going to fail a drug test, and I was never going to fail another alcohol test.
Sure.
And I've maintained that, and as much as I would like that, I would still like to be able to kick back. I don't do it.
No.
I've got my own beliefs on why we should be allowed to smoke pot.
Sure.
But that doesn't matter. We're not, and that's it. End of story, you know.
Sure.
And in either way, even if we were allowed to, I still wouldn't.
No. Is it purely because of the way it affects you, or you just think
Oh God, no, I absolutely love it, man. I'm just the most chilled out dude, mate.
Yeah.
Giggling and carrying on. The problem is, right, when I get happy or I get angry or I get anything, when I smoke cigarettes, mate, I smoke cigarettes, right? So at one stage, when I actually gave up, and I was 30 when I gave up cigarettes, I was smoking virtually a packet of drum a day. So I just roll them as thick as you could put on a paper, and I smoked them, you know. So I'd buy them damn things by the carton. I'd buy Captain Morgan rum by the carton, and I drank a lot of rum and smoked a lot of cigarettes. And then I woke up one morning, and I went to roll a cigarette, and I rolled it while I was still in bed, and I've gone, oh, I'll wait till I go to work.
Okay.
Stuck it behind my ear, went and did everything, went to work, got to work, went to light it, and I've gone, oh, I'll wait till I get underground.
Okay.
Never smoked again since then.
Really?
Yeah, never smoked again. So I carried that half packet of drum around in my pocket until it was gone. Basically, someone would say, oh, can I have a cigarette? And I'd go, yeah.
Right.
Roll the cigarette up until it was just dregs left, and I threw that in my garden.
Wow.
And that was it, you know.
So there was no real sort of defining moment, oh, that's it.
Look, I got to a stage, Peter, where I knew I could give up. Like, I knew I was going to give up.
Yep.
So my philosophy on that is almost like you prepare yourself for failure or you prepare yourself for success.
Sure.
And a lot of people talk about self-speak and all that kind of stuff, you know. But what I found I was doing is I go, wow, smoking is so unhealthy. I have to give it up because it's unhealthy. So that would actually make me feel bad.
Right.
What I then ended up doing was I go, okay, then take everything negative out of it. Don't look at what it is doing to me. Look at what I'm going to do with the outcome of it. So it was a wealth thing, not a health thing. And I looked at it and I've gone, okay, then when I give up the $80 a week that I'm spending on tobacco, will go against my mortgage, rah. So I had written out how much I borrowed, how much I owed, how much I was paying back a week, and then I started subtracting this stuff, and I had somebody who knew math and knew bank finances, and she came down and she's gone rah, and it's actually going to save you $10,000 or whatever it was back then. So you look at that and you go, well, the $80 isn't just saving me $80 a week. It's gone, over this period of time, it's going to save me $10,000. So you look at that, and that $80 was literally costing me nearly $300 a week.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
In the interest in your mortgage, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I looked at it and I've gone, God damn. Okay, fine. That's what I'm going to do.
Gotcha.
So this is what I'm going to do, and this is the outcome of that. And then literally, mate, I don't know. It could have been 2 months later, it could have been 3 months later, or whatever. One morning I woke up and I never smoked since.
Yep.
What I did start doing is go, okay, then what am I spending money on? I'm spending money on these magazines, I'm spending money on these newspapers. What am I spending that on? Blah, blah, blah. What I'm going to do that within 12 months, I paid my mortgage off.
Wow. So that mentality with the smoking filtered down into other things that you didn't need to spend on.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
People today call me a tight ass and call me all that kind of shit, and they go, oh, why don't you do something with your house? And I go, what the fuck do I do with my house? Go, oh, when you go to sell it, you won't get anything for it. It's falling down around your ears. I said, I don't give a fuck if it's falling down around my ears, mate. I'll go and live underneath the house, you know.
It's your house.
It's my house. I don't care. Why should I go and spend, like I spent X amount of dollars buying the property that I've got now.
Yep.
Why should I go and spend that much amount again to redo a house that I don't even like?
Yeah.
I like the veranda on it, mate. I've got a hammock slung across the northeast corner of it, so I can watch the sun come up in the morning, I can watch the moon come up at night time.
Nice.
I listen to the birds. Fucking wind blows so much sometimes, it
swings go for a ride.
It goes for a ride, mate. Sometimes when the wind's coming the wrong way, I get wet, and I'll either throw, like I've got a one of them fly type things, I'll either throw that up, or I'll go back in and I'll sleep on the floor in the lounge room. So I've got a 4-bedroom house. Yep. And up until very recently, I had not slept in any of them.
Wow.
I've had that for 6 years.
That's crazy, yeah.
And now, every now and again, I'll sleep. I set the main bedroom up. I kicked the big bed out of it.
Yep.
And I've just got a king single in there.
Interesting.
And I can lay on that. I can read. I can do what I want to.
Yeah.
I can keep the mosquitoes out. So if I want to read, I'll lay on that and I'll read. Because you can't read outside with mosquitoes and bugs and all that kind of shit that pick up and carry away.
No, fair enough.
So I do, and there has been times where I've actually fallen asleep on that bed, you know. Right. But as I said, up until recently, I never slept on the floor. I roll my swag out, so my head's actually out the bedroom door.
Yeah.
And people come in and go, oh, why don't you put a good air conditioner in, or why don't you put a good heater in? I go, there's a tile fire there. Why don't you light it, because it's not cold? So I walk around in my jocks, and people are all rugged up, freezing, you know, and I think, okay, righto. My house is all open, I'm in my jocks, and people go, oh, God, it's so cold tonight. I don't know.
Oh, that's hilarious, mate. Now, I wanted to find out, when did you, because obviously you've done stuff on and off screen with TV and film and that.
Yeah.
When did that come about? Was that like the 2000s or earlier?
It was actually earlier, mate. What happened was I went back to Calgary, got into trouble, got a really fucked up mindset, right? It was probably 82, 83 maybe, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And things were hard in Calgary anyway. I could have got a job, but I didn't deserve one.
You said that yourself? I
was a prick, mate. I was a fucking dog.
Right.
So I didn't deserve it. I was having fun and I was upsetting a lot of people and all that kind of shit. Then I saw an advert in the Calgary Miner and it said looking for models for an art thing. Got in touch with a woman and she said, yeah, come along. So I rocked up there on my bike and she said, oh, unreal, can you bring your bike in?
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, it's a prop, you know. And she said, can you just drape yourself? And I said, naked or clothed? And she goes, oh, giggle, giggle, giggle. So she kind of consulted her class, male and female, and I did it naked. So I did do one clothed and I did do one naked. So that was cool. And then I thought, and I got a few bucks, you know, $30 or something for the night. It was pretty good back then. Yeah, so there was a few things there. There was a couple of people that did some photography things, you know, but that was all. No, there was no digital shit then.
Sure.
And so they did that, and they got them printed. And I think one of them took a series of photos, and I think she won some photography thing in the same thing at the fair. I don't know, mate. That's only on her saying shit. But so I never saw any of the outcome of the artwork or that.
Oh, really? Oh, bugger.
So it was of no real interest to me. It was just a thing for an end, you know.
Interesting.
And I was there. I did go back to Three Springs for a while. The mother rang me up and said, your father's really crook and he wants a hand. Okay. I went back there for about 8 months maybe, but it was never going to work, you know.
Right.
Left again, got into underground sort of ground support, which back then was reasonably dangerous because literally you're going into ground that's unsupported.
Right.
And the first stint we did at that was at Laverton at Windara, a nickel mine up there, which was horrendously unstable. And man, we had some close calls there, but we were bulletproof, mate, you know what I mean? And so we come out of that with some pretty interesting scars as well, I suppose, but some stories, you know. It's just some near misses.
What sort of close calls were there? Like, was it obviously life-threatening close calls?
Oh shit, yeah,
that sort of level.
Shit, yeah, mate.
Any come to mind that are particularly bad or close call?
Okay, so there was an incident, right, where there was myself and the guy that I was working for. His name was Dave, right, and Dave would go in and he'd be in the danger zone, and I'd be there looking, and I'd go, man, come out of there. That's my job. I'm your lackey. I'm your bitch, man.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, it's actually like this. If I get killed in there, if I get injured or killed in there, there's a rock fall, then you're safe.
Yeah.
If you go in there and you get injured, I go to jail or worse.
Right, so it's best interest to die.
Yeah. So there were quite often times where I just go, you know what, I'm going in there anyway, and I'd go do it.
Yeah.
And there was one in particular where we were doing something. Dave had been sort of keeping an eye on the backs above us.
Yeah. How far down?
That was probably, I try and remember, that was at what they call the OO level, or triple O level, which was basically sea level.
Okay.
So we were down a bit round about at sea level.
Yep.
They put a drive through a fault. Now fault finding is an art, whereas then it was a lot of hit and miss.
Right.
Now it's a science, right? So they'd put a drive through and it just started mining itself out. It kept collapsing, so they'd blocked that off and they'd shored this up and they'd done that and they'd skirted around that particular area. And our job was to secure that section. And we did that by boarding off all the front of it, drilling a hole from the next level above, and then pouring a slurry concrete down there, and filling that up. And it was in there, so I was actually in a really tight area.
Yeah.
Dave was watching. We got out of there. We went down to where we had all our gear stacked. We'll probably gone a half hour, and maybe 4 or 5 tons of really, really sharp, horrible rock had come down and completely filled where I was.
Jesus.
So while we were there and going, holy shit, that would have been fun.
Yeah.
Another pile came down. No show, no groaning, no snowflakes come down first, nothing. It just collapsed down. And Dave and myself looked at each other, and I knew what he was thinking. He knew what I was thinking.
Yeah.
If we hadn't have pulled out of there and gone down, then I would be dead.
Oh my God.
And then there was another one in Calgary where we were doing a reclaim job under Cassidy Shaft, and we'd actually got to the stage where we were pouring concrete. So there was 2 of us, myself and a fella called Glenn, that were up this little thing, and they'd bored a hole into the top of it. We just had some twin flex there and these little battery-powered telephone things, radio telephones.
Yep.
So we're communicating, and they got in touch with us at the surface and said, righto, this is the 4th truck that we've tipped down.
Yep.
How's your the fill going? So Glenn climbed down. He goes, hang on, we'll go down and have a look. So we climbed down there, and we got halfway down the little rise that we're in, and we looked at the stope that should have been full of concrete, and it was empty.
Right.
We could see where the mud had come down, but it disappeared over the other side, and I've gone, holy shit, this is not good. Glenn has climbed down a little bit, then he's gone, fuck, and he's just dropped down, just let go of everything. He's dropped down and disappeared in wet concrete. And I've gone, so there was this brow, right, that we had to go climb up, down, and then up. So the concrete had pushed out through a stope that we didn't even know was there, and was filling our egress up. There was no other way out, right? And I've gone, there's no fucking way I'm staying in here when my mate's not here, you know. Like, they would have dug me out. They had a 50mm pipe or a 90mm pipe. They could have fed water and food down to me. But they'd had to dig me out, right? But there's no fucking way. So I did the same thing. I dropped down in this fucking mud, right? I knew where we were. We'd actually done that particular jump maybe 60 or 70 times while we were doing the work, right?
Yep.
But never with it full of... It was really, really wet, slurry concrete,
but
right?
Still, it was concrete, Jesus.
But it was fucking cement, right?
Oh, God.
And so I did the same thing. Now, I didn't know if I was going to land on his shoulders.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know fuck all. All I knew was I had to hit.
Yeah.
And I had to launch myself up at about a 20-degree angle to come out under the brow, which I did. When I got out there, right, he's there completely covered in shit, as am I, and he's trying to clean his eyes.
Yeah.
And he's laughing uncontrollably. Once I got out, I started it too. So that's that excitement or the adrenaline or whatever, or the fear that sets in, that just starts
your body just reacts to it.
It's
flooded with adrenaline.
With laughing, right?
Wow.
The concrete truck is still up there. They're trying to communicate with us, and there's fucking nothing, right?
Yeah.
So Dave, our boss, is going, maybe we better start thinking about what we're going to do, you know, like a rescue thing.
Yeah.
The next minute, these fucking 2 concrete drowned rats come out from underground.
That's awesome.
60 feet of fucking ladderway we climbed up the winds that we'd sunk, and we climbed up, and Dave's up there. He heard the noise. He heard us still laughing. So he met us at the top, and he said, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
I said, we got flooded in. He said, get in the fucking shower quickly.
Oh my God. That's you.
So, So that, incidents like that, which were like literally reportable incidents, right?
Yeah.
That one got swept under the table.
Far out.
But yeah, no, there's almost a book of those sorts of stories, you know.
Amazing.
And I guess the problem is the way I see them and I remember them may be different from how other people that were there remember them as well. But there was certainly, underground is certainly a library of really, really interesting stories.
I bet. Wow, man. That's
really interesting stories, mate. Yeah, so I think that was basically the last time I went underground. I finished there and I went out to Boddington with a construction team there.
Yeah.
And left October, November last year.
Yeah, sure.
The way things are going at this stage, I probably won't go back to the mine. Certainly won't go back to the mines full time.
Sure.
I've had an opportunity to get back into my horses and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing.
And a little filly has taken my heart.
That's awesome. It's so good.
Yeah, just phenomenal, mate. She has so much trust in me, that little horse.
You should probably tell that story, actually. You were telling in the car ride to one of our shoots recently.
Okay,
what happened there? So that's awesome.
So what happened was a lady across the road from me that I do some work for her, she's sort of very ill. She's got a couple of donkeys and she's got a dog and a cat, and she kept telling me, you need to get in contact with this woman over in 2J, rah, 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 you know, like you really get on well with her and all that. So it could have been that she was matchmaking, I don't know, but it's one of those things which wasn't going to happen, me being where I am. But anyway, I did end up getting in contact with the woman. She had something that she needed doing. I said, I'll come over and do it. I won't charge you, I'll just come over and do it and I'll get to meet you and blah, blah, blah. Well, I got over there and she had a menagerie. She had horses, cows, donkeys.
Yeah, wow.
Dogs, cats, chicken, pig. No, she didn't have pigs because you're not allowed to have pigs in that area. So all these animals, right? It was like, I don't know what chemicals my body started emitting.
Right.
But the non-pig came and buried her nose in me and just like...
That's awesome.
Yeah, and...
but as if she was sniffing you, or like...
Nah, she just wanted touch.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, so, and smelling me.
Yeah.
There were two animals that gave me grief.
Yeah.
One was a drake. No, whatever you call it. Fucking Mr. Goose, right? Mr. Goose came up, promptly latched onto my hand.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Beat me with his wings, right?
Really?
So I'm letting him go for a while, and he's like getting really, really upset because he couldn't break the skin. They've tried to stitch me up with needles, right? The doctors, when I've cut myself.
Okay.
And they can't. They've got to use super glue on. So whatever it is on my fingers back then.
Yeah.
So anyway, it must still be the same because this goose couldn't. And it's going off, right?
Yeah.
So I've kind of just got it by the beak and I've transferred its beak. So instead of pinching my hand here, it's got me on the
gotcha.
on the other finger, you see. And it's still beating up on me with its wings. And then it got sick of that. So he's going, I'm not doing much good here, I'll get away. Then he realised he couldn't get away. Because I got him by the beak, you see. So I picked him up and put him on and I made a big fuss of him, you know. And he's absolutely hating it because he wanted to eat me, not like... So anyway, I let him go. So he keeps well clear of me now. And this little featherfoot bantam rooster...
Oh, yeah.
That just like... I walk past him and he's all burred up, like squatting down. Like I'm a champion fighting rooster, you know.
Yeah.
So I did that with my hands, you know, and next minute it's reared up and jumping on my hand and trying to kick my hand to death and everything. So it doesn't do it with anyone else.
How bizarre.
How bizarre, you know. So it's like this little rooster that sees me coming and hunches down and going like this, you know, going, oh, here's me fighting mate, I'll beat him this time, you know. And he don't hurt you. It's only this little fluffy thing.
Yeah.
But all the other animals,
how funny.
They just come in and a girl that I go riding with, her mare did the same thing. Like I went up when I first met her and her 3 horses.
Yeah.
I went up there and I met the gelding that I was going to ride that day, and then this flaming mare comes up and she's all prancing up and down. I said, can I touch your horse? She said, yeah, fine. She's really inquisitive. She don't bite or kick or anything like that. So I go up there and this horse is like, never seen a bloke with a beard before, right? Up close.
Sure.
So she's up there and next minute, so I turned around from, I said, right, off you go. Turned around, she's come up and she's put her jaw on my shoulder and buried her nose right into my neck. Wow. And then she's just going...
So she's just taking in whatever scent you're giving off, mate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a woman at 2J.
Yeah.
So anyway, I did the job for her and I took the older lady and her friends, so I drove the older lady over there another time, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So the woman said, listen, I've got to deliver a Clydesdale across the country and across the other side of the Shire.
Uh-huh.
Can you give me a hand, you know?
Sure.
I said, yeah. So we loaded up the big horse and we took it over there, and then we had to pick up this little donkey, girl donkey, that they needed to wean off the mother donkey,
Right.
Because the mother donkey was fine getting in the float, but the little one wouldn't.
Right.
And we weren't taking the mother donkey anyway.
No.
So we literally had to pick this little donkey up, put it in the float.
Right.
Same thing, this gorgeous little thing with
Yeah.
she's like an afro haircut.
Yeah.
Tight little curls everywhere. So anyway, we brought her home and brought her back to the lady's place. And then a week or so later, a woman rang me up and said, I've got to do a rescue mission. There's an Arab mare and an Arab foal.
Yeah.
The Arab mare's pregnant again, and they're going to get shot.
But, so the reason for that is because they just didn't want to deal with keeping them anymore.
Family relationship. So
Yeah.
they, I think from reading between it belonged to the wife. The wife had left.
Yeah.
The farmer was just going to shoot the mare and let it rot, and shoot the foal and eat it,
Right.
and for eating its dogs.
Yeah.
So anyway, I said to the woman, do whatever you got to do, stop them from killing it.
Yeah.
We'll come out there on Sunday with a float, pick them up.
Yep.
Anyway, we got out there, right? The mare must have known what was going on, because she went straight up to the woman,
Wow.
bypassed the farmer,
Yep.
straight up to the woman.
Yep. Like save me.
But before we went out there, right, she's gone, the woman's rung me up and said, listen, I'm really, really stressed. I said, why? And she said, I've got to report that the bridle, that the halter, had been put on the foal when it was like only a month old.
That's the head wear.
Yeah,
The head thing. Yeah.
And it's gotten so tight as the foal's grown that it's actually grown into its flesh. She said, I just need to tell you there because of that, and if it does, then I'm going to get the farmer to shoot it on the spot.
Far out.
If I'm carting livestock anyway, I always carry my rifle.
Yeah. Sure.
Not because of my driving, but you never know what happens.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I have come across some pretty horrendous things.
I bet.
So anyway, I took my rifle and I go, if it's so bad, I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's up to me to do it, you
Yeah,
know?
okay.
She goes, no, it's up to me to do it. Just forget it.
Yep.
And anyway, I drove over to her place the next day, the day that we were going, and she said, I never slept a wink last night. And I said, I never slept a wink either, but I do need to tell you that if we get over there and that foal is in that condition,
Yeah.
stay out of my way. Don't try and stop me, because I will not be able to control my temper.
Wow.
I said, I know my weaknesses,
Yeah.
and I won't be able to. So she said, is that why you bought the rifle? I said, I won't use my rifle, I'll use my damn fist.
Yeah.
So I hadn't slept the night before either, because it was like really eating me, and I didn't know what the next day was going to bring. So anyway, I got over there, I saw the foal laying out in the paddock, so I've had a look at her, and I've gone, okay, it is tight, she is scarred, but she's not. It's
Luckily,
not
it wasn't like growing into the
Yeah.
flesh. It was luckily to.
So she has got scars, and she'll have those scars for life.
Yeah.
Across the nose here and under her chin,
Sure.
bit behind her neck. Those ones behind her ears might grow out.
Yep.
You can hardly see them now. But anyway, the mare came readily to die, and the foal followed. We got it into a smaller yard where I could put a lead on it, and I checked it, and I spoke with and let the foal bond with me as much as it could, like everything was new to it.
Yep.
And then we got around, and I said to Di, I said, let's not take this halter off until we get her back to your place. Like, everything's new.
Fair enough.
New people, new float, new travel, new everything that the foal hasn't had done. Let's give it one piece of security, and that's the aggression from that.
Yeah.
And she goes, good decision. So we got it back there, and we unloaded the animals. The foal, we cut the halter off. I had a rope around the foal's neck when I took that off, just so I could keep a little bit of pressure on it.
Of course.
Wouldn't go silly.
Yep.
And once that had dropped off, she kind of did the same thing. She just planted her nose in my chest.
Wow.
And then she's just there like that, you know. So I put my hand sort of under her and then started rubbing all where the halter had been. And I dropped the rope off her neck and rubbed her all, and rubbed her eyes, rubbed across the nose, under the jowls, around the ears and all that kind of stuff. And then I started down, and she's just got her nose in there, same thing, breathing, whatever.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't know what chemicals your body releases.
Or what yours in particular does. It
Or
seems to be
mine in
something
particular,
about it. Pheromones, but I don't know.
And
wow.
Yeah, so that kind of started a bond with the little foal. Yeah, so...
was the trust there straight away, or did it just, after the halter came off, it was easier to...
Look, I think it was there right from the start. I didn't try and lead her from the side. I actually stood in front of her and made her give me eye contact. I didn't do a lot of things that other people did. I'm not a horse trainer or anything like that, but I've got, you follow your heart, you follow whatever is coming at the time, you know.
Yeah.
And I did just what I felt was the right thing, trying to communicate with a frightened and hurting little creature, you know.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
And so, yeah, I think even at that stage, we still had to manhandle her onto the float, and that included literally picking up a horse one step at a time, and then lifting her arse end completely up off the ground.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
And no attempts to bite, no attempts to kick, no attempt to stomp, right?
Wow.
A 5.5-month-old foal who had not developed any bad habits.
No.
So, yeah, once I've left, and she still does it now, she'll open her jaw right up and like stretching it because she wouldn't have been able to open her jaw properly before.
Yeah.
So she still does that. She holds her head up and she opens her jaw right up.
That's
She'll
awesome.
Toss it round, trying to get what would be necessary, what the movements in the jaw that...
Just the relief of that must have been amazing for her.
Yeah.
Just to be able to do what she did, her whole life was like that, wasn't it?
That's right.
That's insane.
Yeah. So I went over there one day and a couple of days after that, actually lay down with two of the ladies' dogs, and her herself was sort of laying down in the paddock, just letting the horses get used to us.
Yeah.
Little foal came up again, and I made a fuss of it, and she did the same thing. I stayed right in front of her, lifted one of her hoofs up. She went to pull away, and I go, no, it's all right. She heard my voice, and she calmed down. She let me pick up her hoofs one at a time.
Awesome.
Then she laid down and have a nap for the day, and normally they'll lay down, but if you try and approach them, they'll get up. So I did approach her, came in low, and then let her sniff my hand, and then I rubbed her nose and around all that kind of stuff, and then was making a fuss of her, got right in close to her, so she just lay down flat, head down, just let me keep doing what I was doing to her, and she literally went to sleep. So I've moved around the back of her head, back of her neck, and down back to rub her. So all of a sudden she woke up and she realised that something was different.
Yeah.
So she reefs her head up. Once again, since she heard my voice, then she's sort of looking out of one eye at what I was doing.
Yep.
And so I moved back from her rump area back to behind her head, and then she just literally laid her head and neck
across your
onto
body.
my chest.
Oh, wow, mate.
And kind of pushed it back so her nose is in here, and she's literally gone to sleep again in my arms. So, and
then you're taken with her. She just seems so affectionate. That's awesome.
And then the rope work that I did with her, we went and gave her some official rope work the other day, and it was the same thing. It was went there, pulled her in. I thought I was going to have trouble when I put the halter on her.
Of course.
Because she would straight away remember. But I was in front of her. I did everything that I believed was right. I let her see it. I sort of held it over her face. I draped everything on her, and then she let me move beside her and put it on. And then I rubbed her around. I spoke with her, did everything, and then literally I was able to stand there, and I was literally throwing a rope over her rump, over her side, over her head, underneath the belly, round her legs and everything, and she's just like focused on me while I'm doing it.
Wow.
And you could see the trust in the video that she had nothing. I walked up beside her and I put some pressure on her, so I made her turn around and face me from the other way, and I went back around, did it the other way.
That's amazing, mate.
So, and there were a couple of times, there were two occasions where one was when the mare got in front of me and she lost eye contact with me, and she went to panic.
Right.
But as soon as she heard my voice and I sort of shoved the mare out the road, and she calmed straight back down again.
Gotcha.
And then when we went to put her back in the paddock with the old gelding that we've got them owned with, it was the same thing. She panicked there and she pulled back hard, and I just spoke to her and did the same movements that I normally did. She recognised that and responded to it.
So cool, mate. Far out. That's really, really cool. So obviously this is a passion of yours with horses in general, whether it's on screen or off screen, or in this situation where you're saving them and giving them a new lease on life, really.
Yeah. Mate, animals in general, Peter, have always been a huge part of my life. So when I was growing up, Dad always had horses, right?
Yep.
But he wouldn't include me in...
No, sure, right.
Yeah. But he would send my sister, would go to riding school all the time.
Right.
And I'd say, I want to go to riding school. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen.
Wow.
So, once again, I've got this whole theory on why he was like that.
Yeah.
I could be right, I could be wrong, I don't know. But there are a lot of things that he wouldn't include me in. And when I look back over that, I go, he taught me how to do things that he didn't want to do.
Right, okay, yeah.
Things that he could do, he didn't want to do. Or things that he would prefer charge me, pay me to do.
Yep.
And Jesus, I was still in primary school, mate, and I learned how to wind armatures and alternator stators and things like that, mate. So other kids are playing mud pies and shit knows what, you know, and I'm stripping stators out of alternators and learning how to use verniers and learning how to wind them and get the gauge wire and to varnish them and to prepare them and refit them back in alternators. And that was literally, I started that in grade 7. So once again, irrespective of Dad liking me or not liking me or using me for child slave labour, it certainly gave me some skills, mate. Sometimes, you know the story of Walter Mitty?
No.
Okay, so Walter Mitty, I don't know now whether he was actually created as a character or whether he actually was a character. Yeah. But to call someone a Walter Mitty, call somebody Walter Mitty is basically to say, you talk the talk, you've picked up all this shit, you might have gone to India, but you say you've travelled around the world and all this kind of shit and all that. So you've got the story, but you're basically a daydreamer because you go in and you read stuff and fuck, mate, sometimes I feel like Walter Mitty, right? So you're talking to people and you go, fuck, I know all these skills, you know, like, could I do it now? Yeah, I could, mate. I could go and pull an alternator apart. I could gauge the wire up, I could source the wire, I could rewind it, and I'd get the alternator working. Do I want to? No, I fucking don't want to.
Of course.
The same thing with a petrol motor car, you know. I know how to pull it apart. I know how to measure the ring gap. I know how to measure the bearing with plastic gauge. I know how to do all that shit. I know somewhere still in Three Springs I've got ridge removers and hones, cylinder hones and all that kind of shit from when I did it, because that's my trade, you know. Do I want to do it? Would I do it now? No, I fucking wouldn't.
No.
I'll park the car up in the fucking backyard and burn it, and I'll go and buy another one. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But one day, mate, we might come into Mad Max shit. And I might have to, and I'll be that old guy in a fucking wheelchair, you know, going, hey, you young dickhead, no, do this, you know.
That'd be brilliant, mate. Yeah. I can see it. We'll make a film about it. That'd be
That's
good.
It, mate, yeah.
Mate, I've been, it's fascinating talking to you about that stuff there.
Yeah.
I want to get you back in, just for an episode 2, essentially.
Sure.
And just get in more detail of that sort of stuff there, and also your film work, which obviously I want to do a whole episode.
Oh, yeah, we haven't touched that yet, have we?
That's all right. I mean, next time.
Touched my naked.
Yeah. That's all right. We all did that.
And I didn't get to tell you about my God being a model for God even.
Oh, there you go, mate. Next, I don't know if you're free next week or not.
Yeah.
I want to get you back in because I just want to get the full story. I want to go deep in with this. This is awesome. So, mate, if you're free to do that again, I want to get you in, and we'll get that side of things, because I mean, we've heard about your basically your upbringing, and then obviously where you went to with your work, and afterwards, and with the horses recently. I want to go to where you started with your creative side of the filmmaking and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I know from personal experience that you being in my film, it was just amazing to meet you and to know stuff that you did outside of my film, like with other productions and things. I want to delve into that. So if you're cool, let's do it next time.
So you take notes on whatever like if you listen to this again between now and then. Take any notes, and that way you can ask me specific questions.
Exactly. You might say, "Oh, that's a story in itself," and then I'll say, "Oh, by the way, you mentioned this last week. What did you mean by that? Or what was the story behind that?" If you're keen, let's do it.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Because there's always backstories, mate, as you're well aware.
Totally. That's it, mate. All right, mate. So next week we'll do it again. Let's continue the story of Steve Kio. I'm loving it, mate.
Awesome, mate. Awesome.
I'm in your face.